Mom, prom at the convention center downtown is over with now, so I'm going to head out to dinner with some of my friends before coming back home to you. We shouldn't be out too late tonight, and I might even have a friend of mine come over to stay the night as well, if that's okay.
Sounds great, Danny. Just make sure you don't get that prom dress dirty while you're out having fun at the restaurant or wherever you guys plan to have dinner.
I'll try.
By the way, your sister's going to pick you up later on with her car.
Wait, really? Oh, that's such a huge help for me.
And if the rest of your friends are all heading back home in the same direction, she said she'd be happy to accommodate 3 others in the back of the car. So when you have a time, a place, and an amount of people you plan to have taken home, please text your sister and let her know.
Roger that. I'll ask everyone and see who can ride along. Mom, I just called and asked for Jessica to come and get me.
Danny, why do you seem so gloomy right now? And why are you already asking to be brought home when it's only been around an hour since you told me you'd be going out to dinner with your friends?
As we were walking down the street to head to the restaurant, we passed by Grandma's house. You know, Dad's mom's house. And as we were passing by it, I had red wine splashed all over the dress.
What? Marv, I just got a couple of text messages from Danny a few seconds ago, and I'm starting to believe that what she said to me has to do with this dress of yours, which you believe I broke into your house and stole from you. Does that mean you're the one that went out and threw red wine all over her prom dress as she was walking by?
That was me. As I had gone out to grab the wine I had ordered, which just arrived and would be given to Jasmine for her prom party, I saw your daughter out there wearing my dress as she walked by. No matter how one looked at it, it was very clear that you went and stole my dress from me so that she could have a dress to wear on the day of her prom.
I told you already I did not steal that dress.
If it were family that had done this to me, I could find a way to forgive them, but it was a stranger who stole my dress from my house.
A stranger?
I told you that you're no longer allowed anywhere near this house, this family, which makes you a stranger to my family. And for starters, I never once said that I was okay with you getting married to my younger son, and even though it's been 20 years now since you guys got married, I still do not forgive you for that. You are a thief who went and stole my son from me. And I just saw as your daughter of all creatures was out wearing the dress that you stole from me. I suppose thieves have to learn from somewhere, right? And that means she'll make for a good thief herself now. The reason I threw that red wine all over her and the dress was to make sure that you'd have to pay to have the dress cleaned, or else I would have never gotten over the rage that I was in. Getting rid of all those stains from that pearl white dress is going to cost you a lot of money, especially when those stains were made with red wine of all things. I'm not sure the dress will even be salvaged after that. This all feels so wonderful for me right now.
The one paying for that dress to be cleaned won't be me, but you, Marv.
Huh?
Don't you dare start crying about what'll happen with you later. Danny, this is about your prom dress from a few weeks ago. It took a lot of time and a lot of steps to have cleaned, but it's starting to look good as new now with pretty much all of the stains gone.
Really? Oh, that's so great to hear.
Seems that your friend you were with at the time, who had the bright idea of patting off a lot of that wine the moment it hit your dress, was a hero that night. Make sure to go and tell them thank you for using up all of their tissues for that, please.
Will do. By the way, have you talked with Aunt May about any of that?
Just once.
And what did she say about all of this?
She was even more angry than I was at the time.
I'm sure she was. I mean, Grandma did something that would get anyone's blood boiling, right? Especially when that dress was something you had gotten from your grandma a long time ago and was still in mint condition.
That's right. Originally, that dress was given to my sister, Aunt May, after my mom didn't want it anymore, who then went and gave it to me. And when you turned 14, I handed it down to you because I was the only one of us to have a daughter in the first place.
And then with me, I remember how upset she was when she had to give it to you because she only had boys and no girls. And, well, that dress was almost ruined with wine, all because Dad's mom thought that the dress was hers for some reason, and that she had the right to call you and I thieves for having it? Mom, I really hate that Grandma so much, and I wish she'd just die. Like, seriously, I wish she would just kick the can already, because there's no way someone who hates their own son, even, should be alive.
For the time being, I think that a lot of this misunderstanding will be taken care of. And I was able to hear from Aunt May about how Grandma became so confused there and started to think that I had stolen that dress from her.
Wait, how could Aunt May know? Oh, that's right. Both your mom and Dad's mom went to the same elementary school when they were younger and were in most of the same classes, right?
That's what it seems like. But they weren't really that close, and one could say they actually hated one another back then. Well, with the past in mind, we are going to be making sure that jerk gets what's coming for her after what she did.
Listen here, Betsy. I have been waiting this whole time, wondering when you'd be giving me my dress back from that dirty daughter of yours, and was even being patient with the cleaning for it and everything. Now, what the hell do you think you're doing, making me pay for that dress to be cleaned instead of giving it back to me now?
I'm sure that the price it costs to have the dress cleaned is more than one would normally think, but it's not to the point you can't pay it off, right? And of course, that price isn't going to be enough to make you pay for having ruined my daughter's time after her prom when she was just about to go out with all of her friends to have dinner that night. So I'll make sure to deal with you later on that one, since we've both gone and settled the bill for the dress's cleaning. So get to it, making sure that the bill is paid for on time.
I told you already that you guys went and stole my dress from my house and tried to use it as your daughter's prom dress. You are thieves!
Do you remember anything about my mom?
Huh? Your mom happened to be one of the girls that was in some of my classes throughout elementary school, right? And that was my number one reason for not wanting to let my son and you get married to one another.
And I know the reason for why you hate my mom. It's because you had your first love back then and went to him confessing your love and asking him to date you. But he turned you down, and did so because he said that he was in love with my mom and wanted her instead.
Huh? Why do you know about that?
I'm sure that you don't remember this, but back in the day, you really made a name for yourself after being so emotional, and that story spread throughout the school like wildfire.
What?
There were all kinds of things that you did throughout the years, and when it came time for you both to go to prom, the same sorts of things happened. My mom happened to wear a dress at that time that very much resembled yours, and you told her not to wear the same dress as you before dousing her in tons of water. But before she could become totally drenched, she was able to move out of the way with her very quick reacting soccer player body and was okay.
Oh, I remember all of that. I was in such a fury wondering how much more that woman wanted to traumatize and hurt me back then before she'd be willing to leave me the hell alone.
And I hear she proved to you that the dress she had on only resembles yours a little because of a complete coincidence.
Huh?
In other words, you really only attempted to drench her completely over something that wasn't even that big of a deal and wasn't something she had done on purpose.
And so what? You're bringing up something that happened between your mom and I over 30 years ago, so what's the point in all of this?
So you still don't get it then?
What the hell are you trying to tell me?
Have you ever gone to see if that dress you think we'd stolen from you is missing from your closet yet?
What the hell are you talking about?
That dress that you threw red wine all over, which Danny had been wearing to prom, was the same exact dress that her mom wore, that I wore, back when you told me not to wear the same dress as you 30 years ago. That so happens to be my mom's dress, which she has passed along from generation to generation.
What?
It's a dress that my mom first handed down to my sister, who then handed it down to me, which I then handed down to my daughter for her prom. It is a history in my family of being worn to proms, and that is why I wanted Danny in it this year. So this whole thing about you saying I'm the one who stole your dress is yet another one of your ridiculous misunderstandings. Even after 30 years, you are still assuming that the dress my family has is the same dress as the one you own, right?
But I'm certain that you guys stole mine.
Also, I've heard that the dress you had for prom years ago was repurposed into a wedding dress, where there was a lot more volume added to it before you got married, right?
What? Oh, that might be true.
You can't tell me that you confused a simple prom dress with that of your very own wedding dress, right?
I understand that I shouldn't be confusing the two.
Then allow me to ask you one last time about this. Have you gone and taken a look in the closet to see if your dress is still there or not? And did you start to call my daughter and I a thief before or after you went and looked for your dress? Did you go out and ruin my daughter's dress on prom night after having gone and looked in your closet for the dress you just assumed we'd stolen from you? I'm sure you don't know this yet, but that dress is something that helped me remember my mom, who passed away 3 years ago.
What?
Are you going to apologize to me now that you're aware of that?
Betsy, where the hell have you all gone off to? I had to go over to your neighbor's place after ringing your doorbell over and over and over again, waiting for you to come out. And when I asked them what happened to all of you, they told me you all moved out of the house a few days ago. I never heard a thing about that.
I know, because we all moved away without ever telling you about it.
Huh? Why would you do something like that to me? We learned that the whole situation with that dress was because of a misunderstanding, right? And I paid you for the amount you were asking, so why?
Because we didn't want to have to deal with you coming after us once you'd paid me.
Coming after you guys?
You were told by your husband that he would be divorcing you now, and by your older son that he and his family would all be moving away from you now, right? Your husband came to us a few weeks ago, stating that there was a very high chance that you'd come out to find us at our house, and that it was best we left before anything like that happened.
Then, where am I supposed to go now?
How about you find yourself a job right now and start looking for a place to live before your husband goes and kicks you out of his house? I know of a few construction companies in town that are looking for help at the moment, so how does that all sound?
No way. I'm at that age now where it's way too difficult for me to do any sort of physical labor, especially something like construction work. Why would I ever want to go to some company where I'd have to be used to do physical labor like that? That isn't fair.
Those last couple of texts I received from my mother-in-law all came from her after she had gone over to our house and was trying to get us to come out and help her. After she had gone over and spoken with our neighbor and then ran back over to our front porch again to text us some more, she noticed Marv drop her phone onto the concrete and then keel over into a fetal position to start crying. And all she screamed about was why she had to go back to working at her age and nothing more. It was at that point that Marv then received texts from not only her husband but her son as well, updating her on their situations and ultimately her situation. Her husband sent her photos of the divorce papers as he was handing them in, saying that she had until tomorrow to be moved out of his house. And the messages from her older son were all about how he and his family were now moved into a new apartment and would no longer be seeing her anymore. These things all piled on top of what she was already screaming about, and that led to her throwing a temper tantrum on the porch. One of her husband's friends saw this happening on our front porch and decided to call around looking for places that would be willing to hire her. He then found someone who would be willing to hire her, and they told him that they'd be there to pick her up in no time. Before long, and right as Marv was getting up to walk home after her tantrum had stopped, 2 black vans pulled into the driveway and a couple of people got out of them and asked her to please get into a van, all while she began to scream and cry. Ever since that day, nobody in the town has ever seen her again, and many people wonder if she's even in the same state as us anymore. I hope that wherever she is now, it's in a good company that does a great job of turning people into productive members of society, and will make short work out of her awful personality for good. As for myself, my husband, and my daughter, we all made sure to move to the other side of town, which is much more of a wooded area, and a place where we could hide our location a lot more easily from Marv. Danny was still able to go to the same school after the move, and my husband and I were able to keep the lives we had before without having to throw much away. And actually, this move worked out perfectly for us anyway, because our house is not only a bit smaller, which is something my husband and I were starting to want as Danny will soon be leaving our house, but the yard is much bigger too. Now my husband can enjoy a lot of the outdoor activities he did in the past with his brother and dad, instead of having to stay all hunched up in the larger yet yardless house we had in the city.
Thank you for watching and listening. We hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe. Also, feel free to leave a comment about what you thought of the story. We look forward to seeing you at the next story.
Thank you for watching. Please subscribe and hit the like button. See you next time.
Hey Cameron, how are things going with you right now? I know you said you might have to stay later today for work, but I thought that I'd just check to make sure that wasn't the case.
Actually, I was able to get out sooner than I was thinking. I'm about to get to the bus station and transfer onto the subway there. Did you need something from me?
I'm so happy to hear that. Since you're almost there now, can you run by the supermarket near the station and grab me some milk before you get on the subway? And it's the milk with the blue label on the jug that we always drink that I want. You know the one I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know which one that is. The same old that you're always wanting from there, right? I'll pick it up for you before I get home.
Thank you so much, and only a half-gallon will do. A gallon would be too much for us again, and it would just go bad. And the reason I want the milk is because it's a really cold day today, and I was thinking of making that mac and cheese bake you really like.
Really? Thank God for that. The last time you made that stuff for me, it was so good I finished the whole pan off in a day. Hey, you want me to pick us up some dessert or something while I'm at the store too? I can get us a cake if you'd like. I really want to have an awesome dinner today, so I think that would be a good touch for after the bake. And this is partially a celebration for the bonus my boss is promising me, so you don't mind us celebrating that in advance, right? I can pick up some other things to eat and drink if you'd like. What do you want?
Are you kidding me? Oh, that's so amazing to hear at a time like this. I wonder if that bonus has to do with all the hard work you've been putting in while studying at home. Well, if you're going to be picking me up something as well that's to my liking, I'd like some ice cream to go with the cake.
I'll make sure to get you chocolate. You know, a lot of this is thanks to you, Ashley, and all the help you'd given me, so I'm gonna make sure to get us a really fancy cake from that bakery right next to the bus drop-off, and then Went and introduced her to me, but we've been going out with one another since then, all for the purpose of getting married to each other. I was told by my mom not too long ago that it's getting time for me to tie the knot with someone, and she told me that Kathy was really wanting to get married soon as well. So when I asked her to marry me and she said yes, my parents both told me that we have to celebrate our engagement now. Therefore, tomorrow I'll be going out for lunch with them to celebrate. Do you understand now?
Huh? I have no idea what the heck is going on here. Cameron, do you have any clue what you were just saying to me there?
What are you talking about?
What the hell is this about you getting engaged to another woman who you plan to marry now? You've been going out with me this whole entire time, right? You and I have been living together with one another under the same frickin' roof. We've been going out with one another for 5 whole years now and have been living together for 3. Yet you're telling me now that your plan is to marry a completely different woman because your mom introduced you to her?
I guess things like this would end up happening.
What the hell do you mean you guess things like this would end up happening? Listen, Cameron, I know that recently you've been going back to your parents an awful lot, saying that you've had all kinds of things you had to get done there, but have all those moments where you've gone back to their house been you going to meet up with that other woman?
Yeah, that's right. My mom has been telling me that I have to do my best to come home and meet with her more often and go on dates with her so that she doesn't lose interest in me. And she's actually been really fun to hang out with, so I never minded.
You have a woman at home who you've been dating for years now, yet you go back to your parents' place to go on dates with another? Listen, Cameron, are you even aware that what you're saying means you've been going out with 2 different women at the same time?
What? Is that a bad thing or something? It's not like you and I ever got engaged to one another, so what's the big deal with me having another woman?
Huh?
You and I don't have any plans of getting married, right? We just happen to be living under the same roof together. Yet you're making a huge deal out of me wanting to marry someone else now? I'm sorry, but are you trying to cause issues for my fiancé and I now or something?
Huh?
I really do like you a lot, and you're the kind of person I really enjoy living with a lot as well. But when it comes to Kathy, well, I can't really say that I hate her or anything. And since it's my parents who are saying that I should be getting married to Kathy now, I'm gonna be getting married to Kathy. It's as simple as that, really. Do you understand?
It's as simple as that?
Well, anyway, when it comes to this coming Sunday, I'm not really going to be able to hang out with you any. And now when it comes to your ice cream, are you looking for more of a standard chocolate, or would you want something with chocolate chunks in it as well? And I'm not going to forget to buy that milk for you before coming home, all right?
Don't bother coming home.
What? Why can't I?
Don't you ask me why I said that again. Now don't you ever come back to this house. Why the hell did you think there was no meaning to the both of us frickin' living in the same house together? What the hell was our relationship to you, Cameron? We have been dating this long because I wanted to frickin' marry you. Nothing about it was just the two of us splitting the bills here to cut costs or anything. I loved you and wanted to become your wife someday. What the hell do you mean you want to live with me, but when it comes to having a wife, you prefer Kathy? You go and frickin' screw yourself, you giant asshole.
Wait, what? Why are you getting so upset at me right now, huh?
I always thought that when it came to arguments with you, it was best to be delicate so that we never ruined the love we had for one another. But today you have proven to me that there is no point in delicacy because you have done and said the worst things known to man. There were so many things about you that pissed me off a bit, but now you have really gone and set me the hell off. We're breaking up now. I'm going to send every frickin' thing of yours that's in my house to your parents' place, so stay the hell away from me. I don't ever want to see your smug face. You met me a whole bunch, even before we started to live together, and I'd been to all sorts of your guys' family events before as well. But when it comes to that woman, he only met her half a year ago, right? Tell me, Colleen, what is your reason behind introducing your son to another woman like that, when you know he's been dating and living with me?
I'm not sure I can tell you the reason why. Well, if you want to hear the truth, it has to do with me wanting my son to marry a really good woman. And I want for him to become happy with her for the rest of his life, all right? In other words, I was looking out for Cameron as his mother should do. Instead of being with some basic woman who comes from a basic family and only does the bare minimum at home when it comes to chores and such, I wanted him with someone more interesting. Someone from a really good family, and with someone who would marry my son for the sake of doing everything and anything he could ask her for, all right?
Huh?
While Cameron's been young, I've thought that it's been totally okay for him to go out and be with different women and enjoy the different kinds of sexual pleasures they may offer him. But with him becoming a bit more important to his company and him getting up there in age now, I felt that he's no longer in that stage of life where he should be messing around with you anymore. When it comes to Cameron, he happens to not only be working for a very large and popular company, but he is our one and only son who we take massive pride in. So That's why I went ahead and set him up with a woman that would better fit the man he is now and will soon become.
So you're saying that all I was to Cameron was a toy for him to enjoy himself with? You thought that he and I were just enjoying one another's body this whole time with no serious goals later on while living together under my roof?
Listen, please, I never actually wanted my son to live in the same house as you like he'd done. I knew that when something like today, where you're both breaking up with one another, came along, it would be tough for him. But I remembered that he had moved far away from us for his work, and even during his time in college, he hadn't really done anything for himself besides study and work. And when it comes to things like chores and cooking, his current job wouldn't allow him all the free time to take care of those things, right? That's why, after thinking things over for a little bit, I allowed him to move in with you, like he'd done. By having someone who could do all the chores at home for him, I felt a lot better about things.
What the hell am I hearing right now? So you never actually wanted him living with me as though I was his girlfriend, but as if I were his housemaid? You allowed him to move in with me because I'd be able to take care of all his needs while he worked?
Well, if I were to say it like that, I'd feel a bit wrong about it all. I'm sorry, Ashley. I know I shouldn't be saying this, but the woman he's currently engaged to now happens to be his executive director's daughter of all people. If he's able to get married to someone like her, then his future is going to be safe and secure, and he'll never have to worry about a thing. His father and I will never have to worry about a thing. I would love it if you could understand that for me. Now I ask that you please just let him be and take yourself out of the picture. If you'd like to stay friends with him or anything like that, you're more than welcome to do that, though.
What? Is that right? After all the times I came out and celebrated your birthday and you celebrated mine, and all the times we would go out together and grow closer, I was the only one thinking that someday you would become my mother-in-law? To you, though, I was nothing more than your son's toy and tool, and that's why you went and spent that time with me? Really, all I ever was to the bunch of you was Cameron's housemaid and not a thing more, right? And not only was he able to live in my house for free, but you had me paying for most of his needs when he'd ask for something he'd want. Yet now that he's got himself a new woman, and they're about to become husband and wife, you just want me to screw off? Huh. Alrighty then, Colleen. I can't believe this is how things have really been. You and your son better be careful not to screw with people too much like you've done to me so far, or else you both will be burning in hell like the rest of the mindless dickheads in this world. I've already broken up with him, so don't you even try letting me know that it's still all right for me to be his friend, because I'm not going to be anything to that man anymore. I already told the guy to never, ever come around me ever again, so please, let him know that once more for me.
Oh, is that so? Well, as long as you're going to stay away from him on a romantic level, do what you'd like. Have a good one, I guess.
You're telling me that you're the one that ended up getting married to Cameron?
That's right, I'm the one. I'm sure you're surprised by that, right? Back when I first heard that someone like you was going out with a man like Cameron, I thought to myself that there was nothing in common between the both of you, and that surprised me. How could a gloomy loser like you be together with someone like him? Tell me, what kind of lies did you tell him, or tricks did you pull to trap yourself a man like Cameron?
You think I lied and trapped him? We just happened to be in the same club with one another in college, and he was the one who started to talk to me first.
Is that right? Well, none of that really means anything to me now. Currently, he is now my man and will be forever. I am seriously sorry for stealing your elite boyfriend from you when he was about to start making bank at the company. And at your age, there's no real chance of you ever going out with a high-end man like him again, right? And when it comes to marriage, you're going to have to deal with all the leftovers that are nothing compared to Cameron, right? I mean, you think anyone else is going to be able to put up with the parasite you were when you'd suck away all of Cameron's money? I feel so bad for someone as disgusting as you. Too bad that you weren't able to become a celebrity wife like me, you poor loser. Did you know that starting next week, I'll be moving into a penthouse on the top floor of a condo building downtown? I'll become his housewife, and from then on, I'll be living my life as the celebrity wife you would always wish to becoming, right? Make sure to be jealous of him and I for the rest of your life, okay?
Just like always, you really love to just sit there and run your mouth like a bitch. Was that really your only reason for getting back in touch with me after so many years?
Well, considering the type of sad woman you are, you can't be working right now and must have all the time in the world to talk, right?
I see. Since this is a one-in-a-chance time for me, I guess I'll say what's on my mind now. Actually, I've had something on my chest which I've longed to say to the woman Cameron was getting married to.
What's that?
I am really
so thankful for what you've done. You have helped me out so much, Kathy. Huh? What the hell has gotten into you? Are you trying to act all tough now?
No, not at all. I am thanking you right now from the bottom of my heart. I was a bit worried if he'd been with someone who had no idea what she was in for with him, but when you made it clear to me that you of all a chronic disease? I have no idea about him having any diseases like that. Did something strange happen between you and him?
Just know that the guy is completely off the rails right now. You could say that he became this crazy overnight, or that he's been getting more and more crazy as we've been together. At first, I didn't notice a single thing wrong with him that would make me freak out like this. But over time, he's gone from being the man of my dreams to this sloppy disgrace that I have no clue what to do with. And for the past 2 frickin' months, he's been wearing the same exact shirt without ever changing out of it.
Dang, the same exact shirt for the past 2 months, huh?
At first, I just assumed he had a lot of the same shirts in his closet or something, but recently there's been this sort of rancid stench coming off of him. When I asked him why he'd been smelling like that recently, he told me that he hadn't cleaned that shirt for 2 months now. And not only that, but he hasn't even been taking a bath or a shower. He told me that since we've got married, he's only ever been in the shower 2 times.
Ew, that's freaking gross if you ask me. And not just for a short time either, but for 2 whole months he's been like that? But did it really take you this long to start realizing all of those things going on with him? Wasn't it obvious when he was never tossing any clothes into the hamper for you to put in the laundry?
I didn't ever notice a thing at the time, all right? I just assumed that he was doing his own laundry all by himself this whole time, and I never saw him actually doing it.
Ah, I get it now.
And if that wasn't bad enough, the man's appearance has been changing as well. I'm not sure where he's been buying a lot of the clothes from, but all of his neckties are so weird, as well as his pants and socks and such. But I know one thing for sure, and that's that all of his clothing he buys is really cheap and looks like the stuff a child would be wearing. He's also been having a harder and harder time communicating with me, and the way he talks to himself all the time now makes me feel uneasy. This doesn't make any sense, because before he got married to me, he was wearing really nice clothing all the time. He always said the nicest things to me, and he would never talk to himself either. The fact that he's turned into whatever the hell he is now all of a sudden is too much for me.
You thought the guy was dressing well before? Well, thank you so much for the compliment. I never thought you, of all people, would be willing to compliment what I'd done.
Huh? Why are you thanking me for saying that?
Because I was the one that picked out all of that clothing for him before. I would not only help him buy his clothing, but I'd make sure he wore the right set of clothing each and every day before he left the house.
What?
I'm going to start spoiling some deep secrets now for you, all right? When it came to how he looked every day when you were seeing him, and anyone else, I was the one behind that fit. I would think about the time, the place, and the occasion for the man and get him an outfit to match. If it weren't for me always doing that for the child, he would go to all of these important company meetings wearing the most ridiculous neckties. And he wouldn't wear leather shoes into work, but sandals and crap. And he would wear just a regular t-shirt under his suit jacket and some strange pants, making himself look almost like a clown. So I made sure to always ask him what his plans were for the day and then get him an outfit to match those plans. At first, not even I had a clue of what was good and what wasn't when it came to fashion, but after studying up on it for a bit, I was able to get him looking a lot sharper. But man, to think that there could be someone on this planet that doesn't even know how to match their own clothes like him makes me think he isn't even human and is an alien of some sort, especially with those silver sweatpants he'll be walking around in all the time.
The silver sweatpants? That's the pair of pants I always see him wearing. I assumed that he was just going to some parties or something. No way.
Well, if you want to know where those pants came from, they're the ones that he picked out for himself. Isn't that insane? When I saw him picking those pants out of all things, I was very shocked. After so many moments of me warning him about dressing up more fashionably and helping him for months at a time, he'd just revert back to that crap the moment I took my eyes off him.
There's no way. I thought he was just trying to get a laugh out of me or something, but that clothing is all the kind of crap he wears on a daily basis? Oh, disgusting. This can't be happening right now.
And to make things even more interesting, he knew I'd get upset at him for buying clothes like that, so he started to hide it all from me. You know how he'd do that? He would stop throwing his clothes in the hamper for me to wash and would avoid letting me iron any of his things. There were times I'd find his clothing covered in mold and him still trying to wear it. And not just that, but when looking through the house after we'd broken up, I found boxes full of strange clothes in the basement he'd been hiding, and they all smelled ghastly.
Ugh! No way, no way, no way!
Right? You'd better be more careful with that guy from now on, all right? If you take your eyes off him for even a second, he is going to turn one of your rooms into his storehouse, where he'll keep all of his nasty, moldy clothing. For myself, I had to spend close to 3 days going through my place, deep cleaning everything with nothing but bleach. All because it wasn't just the basement he'd kept that nasty clothing in, but in corners of the house I couldn't normally see, like behind some doors and furniture. And if his disgusting clothing wasn't already enough for you, he would always leave things like food and drinks out as well. If I never told him to get into the shower, he'd stay out of it, and he never bothered cleaning the toilet either. Things like cleaning, laundry, cooking, all of the chores. I would have to be the one doing it all because he just couldn't understand the concept of being clean and well kept. And no matter how many times I'd try and teach him how to be a proper adult, he'd just forget after 3 days and go back to whatever the hell you'd call his base character.
What? You're lying, right? He told me before, though, that he was always doing his chores when he lived by himself, so he would be fine. And he said that to me with so much confidence.
I guess he was living by himself when he was going to college, but he never did any of those chores himself. His mom would come all the way out to his dorm room once every 3 days to do all the chores for him, which means that he's extremely useless, and he knows how to do nothing at all. Cleaning and cooking was all left in the hands of his mom.
You have to be kidding me.
When it came to his job and the work he had to get done, I had to do everything that I could to support him with it all. Whenever he'd have a meeting coming up, I'd have to go through all of his documents, making sure there were no errors. I would even have to correct all of his manuscripts, and 3 days before those meetings and presentations, I'd have him stand in front of me and practice. I had to do all of that because if not, he'd go in front of all of his superiors trying to make these very inappropriate jokes about them. I had to tell him over and over again that the only things he was allowed to say were things I wrote down in red on his papers. And if that wasn't all enough, I would have to go through his business cards every time he updated his to make sure they were all correct and didn't have such typical errors. I would also go and look through all of his coworkers and superiors' social media accounts, looking into the kinds of people they are, so that when it came time for their birthdays and such, I could get them presents for Cameron to give to them, so that he wouldn't look like a total dumbass giving them toys and candy or some BS. And I would also have to make sure to tell him what times he was supposed to go to parties for work and when to go out drinking with his higher-ups. And just in case I were to ever slip up, I made sure to tell all of those that he'd meet his #1 hobby was acting. That way things wouldn't be as awkward when he'd act himself around them. Also, the guy's horrible at remembering people's faces. Even those that he'd met time and time again, he'd walk up to them saying it was nice to meet them and asking for their name and such. To be frank, the guy's anything but an adult when it comes to the way he behaves.
What? You had to take care of all those tiny details for the man? So then, the reason he was always doing so well at work is because you were behind the scenes making it all happen for him?
That's exactly right, Kathy. I'm not trying to brag at all about any of this, but if the guy isn't supported with all the help he needs, he won't be able to do anything by himself. In other words, it's like having to take care of a vegetable, which is still able to walk and talk. He can't communicate properly, he can't dress properly, he can't work properly, and he can't survive properly. He quite literally can't do anything properly. And that's why, as of right now, without any of my support for so many months now, it's becoming clear to you just how sad of a human being he is, right? If you think that I'm lying about some of these things, by the way, go and have a closer look yourself, would you? I think you'd be very surprised by what the guy is hiding from you. The man you went and ended up with after having fallen head over heels is someone that had to constantly rely on me to get anything and everything done from his job all the way to his home, who had to be treated like an elementary schooler by me and doesn't give a single crap about his own hygiene. The world's worst man ever. You've really done it now.
No way. Why did you never tell me anything about him before this? Had I known that he was going to become that kind of a sad person, I would have never ended up marrying him. The only reason I even went and married him in the first place is because I thought he was an elite with all kinds of income.
Well, that's too bad for you now, isn't it? You didn't end up with the future where you got married to a put-together man who could give you the celebrity life you'd been wanting. You ended up with a man that requires you to take care of him 24/7 to ensure he doesn't become some kind of a monster. Now, as long as you do what I did for him, he will go right back to being the man you saw me with. But that's going to take a lot of your time and effort now.
That's impossible for me. Like, seriously, impossible for someone like me. Hey, please do something about him for me. You come back and support him one more time for us. You can start coming over to the house every day, and you can be the one taking care of him from now on. Make the Cameron from the past come back and be my husband again.
You really think that I'm going to say okay to something as unwanted as that? Why should I have to go back to taking care of that dumbass all for the sake of you? You can see just how stupid everything you're saying right now is sounding, right?
I will pay you to come here and take care of all his needs. How much would you like for the job? Tell me the price that you want for him and I'll pay it, I promise.
No matter how much I'm being paid, I can't be asked to go back to caring for that freak. And as of right now, I'm living such a relaxing and enjoyable life. I don't have to wake up at 3 in the morning every day to start cooking for the guy, and I no longer have to rummage through the closet anymore trying to figure out what to make him wear anymore. I don't have to stay awake until 1 in the morning anymore trying to fix all of his paperwork for his job anymore, and I no longer have to sit around with him anymore having him practice all of his presentations. I don't have to help him remember all of the people he's ever met and who they all are when it comes to buying gifts for them. And I don't have to help him figure out which parties to go to anymore and what to wear at them either. I'm able to wake up when I feel like it in the morning and only do the chores that I need to do. I can work at my job without ever having to worry about how Cameron is doing, and I can go out and enjoy my own lunch. I'm able to go where I want to go on all of my days off, or I can just sit around at home enjoying my hobbies and relaxing. I'm able to study the kinds of things I want to now to improve my skills. And I can take as long as I want now at night caring for things like my hair and my skin before bed. I'm able to watch the movies I want to at night in peace, and I can head to bed at 10 p.m. instead of 1 in the morning when I please. The life I've been given now is so much better than what I had to live through with that walking disaster. Ever since I realized how wonderful life could be for me without someone like Cameron in it, I don't think I can go back to being around him. I can't just buy my own time and energy with your money, you know, so there's no way I'm going back to being that loser's caregiver anymore. How about you start doing all of that by yourself for your marriage's sake?
No way. There is no way I can do something like that. I have a job of my own and everything that I need to focus on. So there is just no way in hell that I have the time or energy to deal with someone like Cameron all week.
I was able to take care of him while I worked, though, for 5 whole years while I was going out with the guy. But now that I'm finally away from him like this, I think to myself why I had put myself into such a position where I had to raise him like a child every single day. And so far, I still can't find the answer to that question. I was a bit hesitant at first when it came to breaking up with him. But just 3 days after telling him that things were over between the two of us, I got all my energy back and have been feeling like I'm on top of the world now. The world has really opened up for me again, and it just feels like I finally had my eyes open to what truly lies out there for me. You understand what I mean by that. That's why when I heard from you that you'd both be getting married to one another, I thanked you for it. I finally felt at peace with myself and wasn't upset at all about leaving a man like Cameron in your arms instead of mine. Now, as long as you make sure to at least get some sleep and some food into you every week, you'll be able to make that relationship work with him. Good luck to you.
I really cannot do this with a man like him. Hey, come on now, do something about all of this. You take responsibility for this mess right now. You're the one that turned Cameron into such a lost cause, right?
Now, come on, Kathy. He's always been that useless even before I found him. All I did was try and support the guy before realizing that he didn't even appreciate my time and effort. And so, when he and I broke up, he went back to being the useless and lousy man that he naturally is, instead of the elite man I was trying to turn him into. So you stop complaining about it all when you're the one that chose to marry him. If you're looking for someone to blame for all of this, then find the one responsible for the way he is now.
I told his mother about him as well already, about how strange he's been recently, but the only thing
walk anymore and is waiting on some more scans. And the doctor told me that when she does get out of here, she's going to need to be cared for. But I have work and all of that still, so I don't think I'll be able to watch over her. I wouldn't mind putting her up in some old folks' home, but at the moment all the ones closest to us are full. So I'm in a bit of a pinch right now.
Oh, is that right? Well, that's too bad for you guys, right?
Right. So that's why I'm wanting you to come and take care of my mom when she gets out of the hospital. You can come and care for her after you finish work. So please do this for me.
Huh? Why? Why are you asking me?
Well, because my mom will be in need of help. I have to have someone around who can care for her since I won't have time to do that.
Sure, but that doesn't mean that I'm the one responsible for her and having to care for her, right? And I don't want to do it anyway, so no.
What? Wait, what's wrong?
You and I broke up months and months ago. Is there any reason for your ex-girlfriend to be coming over to care for your mom at all? She's not my mom.
Wait, what? Wait, I don't understand what's going on here. Last time when my mom caught a cold and wasn't doing well, you went and took care of her for a week, right? Why are you saying no to me this time around?
Okay, so at that time, you were still my boyfriend, and to me, she was like someone who would one day become my mom, right? Right now, you and I are exes, and to me, you're nothing more than a stranger. I don't want to be going out to take care of some random stranger's mom, and I don't even have the time for that anyway. Yet for some reason, you're acting like I was just going to hop right up and do it for you. Did you just assume that I would be all right with that?
Then what am I gonna do about her?
I don't frickin' know, you idiot. How about you ask your own damn wife to take care of your mom for you?
But currently, Kathy is a bit... Well, right now she's not home. She told me that she had some very important things to do back at her parents' house and such, and left the house. And after trying to call her 20 times now, she hasn't answered even one of them. I'm not sure what this means for me and her, Ashley.
In other words, she's gone and abandoned your ass, right? I guess the only thing about her that's so good is her ability to run away from you. Well, her having ran away from you, or whatever the hell, has nothing to do with me and my life, so...
No, wait, hold on for just a second, please. I am really in serious trouble at the moment, Ashley. Ever since you and I broke up, nothing has been going my way, and it constantly feels like I'm failing at everything. Kathy has run away from me, the whole entire house is like a landfill now, and all of the food I buy tastes terrible. My work has been going downhill for me, and all of my friends are starting to leave me as well now. My mom has collapsed and can no longer remember who I am even. What the hell am I gonna do about all of this now?
Stop asking me about all of that. How about you use that last remaining brain cell of yours to think of something? I have nothing to do with your sorry ass anymore. Now goodbye for the... caused a lot of trouble for her father's company and had led to him having to take full responsibility for the lost contracts that were caused by Cameron. He became a much heavier drinker after that, and this caused his wife, Kathy's mother, to stop wanting to live with him. So when Kathy cried out saying that she'd leave Cameron and everything, her mother and father told her that it was her fault for marrying such a disgraceful man before kicking her out of their house and out of the family. Thankfully, that ended her mother's desire for leaving her father, and they started to work on their relationship and her father's company again after Kathy was out of the picture. Kathy ran all the way back to Cameron thinking that at least she had him around. But when she got back to the house and saw that it looked like a landfill, she made a U-turn and ran. For a bit, she would just go to the nearest 24/7 cafe and lay around crying all the time, using up whatever money she had to eat and drink and sleep there. But after she had realized that she had to do something more than just moping all the time and left the cafe and got back out into the world after a week had gone down, currently she's going back to all of her old friends, hopping from one house to another trying to keep herself from becoming homeless. But things like that have only led to more drama and trouble between her and her friends are leaving her one after another now. Perhaps Cameron is like a god of pestilence, and all of this mayhem that's been unfolding was all his doing from the very start. Thinking back on all of this now, had I never broken up with him and forced him out of my life, it would be me having to care for both him and his mom all the time, and that is a thought I really don't want to have again. As for myself, I have had a ton more time to myself and have been using it to go and study things like the stock market and other languages, trying to make myself an elite. And after a few months of studying, I brought all my newly learned skills to work and showed my higher-ups the woman I was becoming. This led to them giving me a promotion and a raise, which has landed me on the business team, which will be heading overseas to help with a new office there really soon. I've already begun moving across the globe to my new home, which gives me the security I needed a lot of, never having to see Cameron ever again. And now that I'll have a brand new life for myself in a foreign world, I'm going to make myself into that elite which I'd always been making my ex-boyfriend seem like. Thank you for watching and listening. We hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe. Also, feel free to leave a comment about what you thought of the story. We look forward to seeing you at the next story.
Thank you for watching. Please subscribe and hit the like button. See you next time.